Thanks very much. So if we're going to build 1 million homes in the Arc, they all have to be zero carbon, thank you. Enable sustainable lifestyles, foster community, address inequality, enable a circular economy and increase biodiversity. In other words, build homes, as you say. A climate and ecological emergency is upon us. This is deadly serious and often makes me cry. Thanks to David Attenborough, and maybe because we can... Oh, here we go. Maybe because we can feel climate change, public opinion has changed, and 2/3 of people want and are willing to take action on it. And as school climate striker Greta Thunberg says, the house is on fire. We've got to act like the house is on fire, and I want you to not forget that today. So here you can see the scale of the challenge, the human use of resources for food, for buildings and carbon globally, and we exceeded the carrying capacity of the planet in the 70s, and we're now consuming and polluting 70% more annually than the planet can sustain. We're living like we've got 1.7 planets globally. In 1960, we had 3 billion people. Now we've got 7 billion, so we're more efficient, but there's more of us. And the result is climate change, disappearing forests, the lungs of the earth. You know, we need all of this, and we've got to tackle it. We've got to manage it better. Different countries are consuming at different rates. The UK is here. We're at the sort of 3-planet level. And so many countries don't have enough, and they need to grow in a sustainable way. So this is the backdrop that we find ourselves. And we've taken up so much land as humans that we're presiding over the 6th mass extinction, with 60% of vertebrates lost in most of our lifetime. The Woodland Trust came to see me last week, and they said, the national planning policy in England is deforestation. Discuss. But it's also the impact of our consumption on the global supply chains. And it's our generation that have to solve this. We don't have 3 planets. We need 1 planet living where we can have happy, healthy lives within the natural limits of our planet and leave space for wildlife. So I live and work, but I know that we can do this. So my experience over 25 years of the practical projects that we've done, both at homes and in products and in policy in the UK and internationally, shows me that we can definitely do this through the monitored outcomes. I've seen all the jigsaw puzzle pieces of it. I live and work at BedZ, which is a sustainable community that we initiated and designed with Bill Dunster Architects, which we took around, and it was kind of the original community-led development. The Peabody Trust put up the money to do it. It's 17 years since we moved in. When moving into me felt like, oh, I'm moving into the future. And then a couple of weeks later, it was just the new normal. And that's what I think, we'll all look back on this and think, why don't we just do it? And the learnings from BedZ have influenced people all around the world. So we designed it to address all aspects of our 3-planet lifestyle. And if you think about our 3-planet footprint, 8% of it is, I've got ahead of myself. 8% of it is building, construction and maintenance. You can see there, 18% home energy use, 15% personal transport use, 23% food, 14% consumer goods, and then the rest is kind of the shared infrastructure that we all use. So we had strategies at BedZ to address all of that, not only the consumption, but also social and economic sustainability. And a key thing to remember that Jazz said, make sure you say this, Sue, is that you've got to make it easy. And that's the approach we took. Think about the person that's going to live there and make it easy to do the right sustainable thing and difficult to do the wrong unsustainable thing, so kind of nudge theory. And an example of that is we've reduced car miles driven by 50%. So there's a secure place for your bicycle by the front door. Your car is a bit further away. Parking is reduced. The parking's pushed to the outside. There's a car club, so you don't need to own a car or a second car, and of course public transport. I redid my own eco-footprint last week because I was giving a talk to the Extinction Rebellion group, and I thought, well, I better see where I am. And I was so pleased. I was running around the office going, oh, I've got 1.1 planet living. I went vegan in January, and I think that's helped. They had to make me a special salad. But you said it looked nicer than what you had to eat, so that was really good. So it can be done. We can actually do 1 planet living. And one of the things is about building community. So we've got an email group in BedZ where we share resources. You know, we share, anyone got a camping mat? whatever it is, oh, I've got something I don't need anymore, and kind of passing it on. And what people say at BedZ is that they're happier. You know, that's the thing. They mainly just like living there. It's just a lovely place to live. And people know what they like, and this is good business, because when they turn up and see it, one Brighton apartment sold twice as fast as comparable developments. They were built within the normal range of build costs. And if you reduce space for cars and car parking, you can build more, and that's value. And you can create community and green space, which helps to sell it. So we created the One Planet Living framework to respond to requests from people, could we do a BedZ with them, which had those 10 principles which flashed by. And the process is vital. We heard Noah talking about working with communities to design, not just designing something and then showing people drawings and kind of concealing the thing you don't really want them to see, and then when it's built they don't like it. If you work with communities, you can create better places and places where people really want to live. So we use it, One Planet Living. We make it freely available. We used it for the London's 2012 Olympic bid strategy. It's One Planet Living framework's been used in 30 billion of development all around the world. And it can be used at scale. I worked on a project in China, 6,000 homes. It's like BedZ in China. There's a lovely project at the moment in downtown Ottawa. And of course for Bicester, Ecotown. And Jenny Barker from Cherwell District Council, who's like the champion of the Ecotown there, is here with us today. So do chat to Jenny about that. The Ecotown's planning policy statement was One Planet Living, and Jenny's made sure that when it got abolished by the government, it went into the local planning policy guidance. But development is not sustainable unless it's affordable and supporting local housing need. And our approach to that at Bioregional is to set up this new company. And we're working with communities as an enabling developer to build truly affordable homes for the squeezed middle based on a third of their median household income, where there's a community land trust with covenants on it, so they can get 20 to 40% discounts in perpetuity. So, and of course, One Planet Living. We can definitely do this. The industry was prepared, you know, many years ago. We had 10 years to figure out how to do sustainable zero carbon developments, and all new homes should be built like this. And our children will not forgive us if we don't do all we can to act on the climate and ecological and inequality crisis, and we've got a moral responsibility for this. But it's also a great business opportunity. So I can't wait to have, we've got quite a long time for a discussion. I'm really looking forward to a provocative and interesting discussion with you. Thanks.